Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to my reading room. Yeah, I know it's been a while since my last video. Sorry about that. But with my migraines and everything, there were days that I had pretty much stayed in bed all day because I got a migraine when I got up on some days over last month. But I did get some reading done. And that's what I'm back here for today's reading update. Okay, yeah, I finished this book around a week and a half ago, Bob Schieffer's book, What I Couldn't Tell You on TV, or this just in, What I Couldn't Tell You on TV. And it's pretty much like memoirs for the time that, for when he was reported, started with like that radio station first or newspaper, I can't remember, but if I remember it was radio station. But he actually starts at a different spot from the very beginning because he grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, which is right by Dallas, and he starts off with JFK when he was assassinated, talking about that, and so bringing in your interest right away, and then he starts to talk about. Then after that chapter, he talks about how he got into being a reporter, and then also talks about his years he had to serve in the Air Force because he was an ROTC in college to help pay his tuition. But this is a very interesting book. Like I said, he starts before JFK was assassinated, about even talking some about when he was a boy and stuff, and he talks about how he talking about different things like for his report that he reported on. Like I said, I think he was on with the radio station first, but then he was hired with a newspaper, one for Fort Worth, and he after the Vietnam War started, he begged them to send him to Vietnam, and he could do reports from there, the paper said, okay, but you can only don't go into combat areas, and just find that people, the service members that are from around the area, or like in Texas. And so he talks about that, and but he goes on. He talks about the 68 Democratic Assembly or whatever, for the convention, and in Chicago, and he talks about Nixon and Ford and Carter, and he pretty much goes all the way through 9/11. And not long after 9/11, he retired, but then they brought him back for a while where he was center, but that part's not in this book. So it's a pretty good book. I was interested in it all the way through it, and so it's not that often I can find nonfiction books I can keep me as interested as it did. Okay, and then yesterday I finished Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. In my last video, I had talked about how I'm going to be reading the Robert Langdon series, which is the one that this is it's the first book, and I'm reading them in publication order. So I got this one done. This is about Roger Langdon, who's a art history professor. His degree's in art history. He's a professor at Harvard, and he's written a book on symbiology, and or not books on symbiology, and he talked about Illuminati in his book, and when the way the book begins, he gets waken up by his phone ringing. This was like on a Saturday morning, and somebody he thought this was just a prank caller because they were trying to get him to come there, and they said that they'd get him. They could have him there in an hour. He didn't believe them at first, and he hung up. And then they called him again, and he asked, "How'd you get my number?" And stuff like that. So anyway, this, but that they tell him that it's it's something that's related to Illuminati, and they said that they've had a murder there, and that's when the first guy forgot, because then they had sent him facts showing with of the guy's chest where he was branded with an Illuminati brand or branding iron. So, and that piqued his interest, and they called him back, and they wouldn't give him much information. They told him to be at the airport at such and such a time there in Boston, and they said that it would take an hour for him to get there, and so he was taking out it somewhere in the States, close by. Well, no, it wasn't in the States. This was, they took him to Switzerland, to CERN, which is a big scientific research facility in Switzerland that has made several discoveries, and it was one of the scientists was killed, and so they put him on the search of Illuminati, and he didn't know how he could help them out. He said he thought the Illuminati was all dead and this stuff. Well, anyway, but the guy that caught him, he's the director of CERN, and he said, well, he was in a wheelchair because he had health problems and stuff, and well, anyway, but they were then just a little bit after they were talking, the scientist's daughter got there. She was like she was works for CERN also. She's a physicist. Well, her dad was a physicist also, but he was also a ordained Catholic priest. But he was also a scientist, and he tried to get having his science where he could prove stuff in the Bible could actually happen, and after his daughter gets there, him and she tells him what him and or what she and her father had been working on is a way to collect antimatter using the particle collider big one there at CERN, and she told them that they had been able to capture some too, where it was like just a blob in a canister, but it's held in the middle because if it touched the walls, it would explode, and it would be a massive explosion and stuff. But it turned out there was one they did stronger strength in, and that canister was missing. So, and also I forgot to tell you where, when they killed her father, they cut out his, can't remember whether it was left or right eyeball, because that's how, the way he could get into the lab that he had set with security up on it, was that they had to do a retina scan to get in there. And they used that, and they stole a canister of the that they had the antimatter in, and if they took it out the exposures that they had in, around 24 hours later it would explode. And they said that, yeah, they could, this one that it was stolen could just destroy up to like anything half a mile away from it. And after, when they were heading back out, the director, he was wheelchair bound, and he had other problems, and just he got a phone call just before that, and he was talking, and it started up when he was talking, and he pretty much collapsed, and he told Robert Langdon and this guy's daughter, her name is Victoria, told them that he'd be there 40 minutes, like in an hour later, he told them, or 40 minutes later, and he told Rob, after he collapsed, he told Robert and Victoria to go to get to the airport, and they ended up going to the Vatican, and they're working on Robert has solving clues for the path of the Illuminati, for finding their secret worship area, and so it's an interesting book. It did keep my interest in it, so like I said, it's one I like. That's all I'll tell about it, because there's a lot in there that I don't want to spoil. So with me having got that book done, I'm starting the Da Vinci Code today, which is the second book in this series. Of course, a lot of you will know this by the movie with Tom Hanks. I guess there is one with Angels and Demons too. I haven't seen it. I'm going to have to try finding it somewhere. I checked if it was on a streaming site that I have, but it didn't. The streaming sites I had going through my Roku, but it wasn't there. So shoot. It just okay, I misplaced one of my e-books or e-readers. Okay, so I'll tell you in my Kindle Glow Light. I'm reading still reading the Adventures of Captain Hatteras by Jules, and hopefully I'll finish that soon. And I'm also starting up as I'm going back to the books I was reading in my in my in my Nook color. I'm just starting on this. This is in a book called 25 Classic Novels, Volume 2. Trying to get this told. And it's Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. You can see the stuff pretty good there. That's a thing why I like e-readers. I can have the printout a little bigger so I can read it easier. And then on my Kindle, I'm reading a book that I'm reading one in another book. This is waiting for it to come up. It's like 360 plus British mysteries. It's all stuff in the public domain. I'm just waiting for it to come up now because it's a bigger book, because with that many books, you know, it has to be a bigger file. Okay, this see the yep. Okay, this is British Murder Mysteries box set, and the where I was stopped at before. Come on, I've read. This is next one for me to read on there, and it qualifies for October, because this is the Firmer's Girdlestone, Romance of the Unromantic. This is by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. That was written like in 1890 or something like that, or should I say first published. So yes, this is one. This is the one that's not Sherlock Holmes, written by him. If I remember right, this one's was a standalone book, and so I'll be reading it, and it also qualifies for October. Well, I know I've been talking for a while now, and my voice is starting to go. So I'd say it's time to end the video. So until next time, take it easy and keep on reading.